Hey guys, hope you're well. Just to let you know what I'm going to do today. So we're going to have dinner, okay, and I'm cooking chicken with brown rice and ginger and red kidney beans as well and pineapple. Okay, I haven't actually got a name for the dish, but that's pretty much the ingredients on it. Okay, but what I'm going to do is give you an idea of what I eat, and hopefully you'll like it. So what I tend to do is put a lot of nutritional slant into what I eat. Okay, I'm very considerate about the nutritional aspects of my food. So let's go around the table. So in here I've got brown rice. Okay, that's my 3/4 cup of brown rice. Now it's quite key to have carbohydrates in your diet, especially as an avid exerciser. Okay, so brown rice is particularly good because it's what they call a low GI carbohydrate, so low glycemic index. What it means is that it gives you a regular and sustained amount of energy. It doesn't send your energy levels into a peak and then a drop and then you end up feeling tired. It gives you a sustained amount of energy. So it's a very, very important part of your diet as a macronutrient. So now the chicken, okay, so I've got there's about 8 ounces of chicken there. All right, so obviously the protein intake is very important. I do like chicken, but I'm going to infuse it with ginger as well today just to give it a bit of zingy flavour. So in terms of protein, it's important that you have protein in your diet so you can repair the muscles, okay? But also having a high protein diet is very good for keeping you fuller for longer. It's called high satiety aspect to it. So it means it keeps you fuller for longer and helps you manage the intake of food. So the more full you remain, the less propensity there is to snack and things like that. I know all about it, trust me. However, if you don't eat meat, there's other alternatives that you can add to such a meal. Okay, you can add beans and seeds to that, to the rice, nuts and seeds, and they're equally a good form of protein as the meat is. So there is alternatives that you can actually add to the food. Okay, now, I did mention pineapple. I think I did, yeah I did. So I've got pineapple here. Okay, I like pineapple, I actually live for it. The pineapple I'm going to stick into the rice, okay, and the one good thing about this is it's a high GI carbohydrate. In fact, it's a medium to high GI carbohydrate, and what that means is it gets digested quicker and goes into your bloodstream quicker, so you feel the benefit, the energy benefits quicker. The only downside to that is that it gets your blood sugar high, but then can bring you down. However, because I'm eating the rice as well, I'm going to have a sustained amount of energy. So this would be very good before a class, for instance, within an hour before the class, but also after a class as well, to pick your energy levels back up. And rice would be very good as a main meal 3 to 4 hours before a class, because you sure don't want to be running around after a full dinner of this. Red kidney beans. I like red kidney beans. I wouldn't add it in my ingredients if I didn't. Okay, red kidney beans, very good source of protein. But I would combine these with things like nuts and seeds to make them a complete protein. Okay. The other good thing about red kidney beans is they're high in fibre. Okay. And the good thing about fibre again is, like protein, it keeps you fuller for longer. So it's got that filling quality to it. But again, it can add to the taste of the meal, okay? Now, I'm not going to profess that I'm an expert cook, but this is a good idea of what the kind of food I eat and for the nutritional values that I've mentioned already, okay? And I treat my cooking a bit like my driving. I sort of do it within the limits of my ability. So I'm going to start with my rice. So I've got my pan hot, okay? So my pan is real hot. And I'm going to put the rice in. So I'm going to be careful not to heat it too high. I'm going to simmer that rice. Okay, that rice is going to simmer, and I'm going to keep a good eye on that. Okay. Now, those of you who have got more, I say, cooking accolades than me, you would probably correct me straight away by putting turmeric straight in the rice. In fact, I'm going to leave that. So yeah, I'm going to leave that. So I'm going to keep an eye on that rice, and then I'm going to put the chicken in about halfway through the rice cooking, just so I can infuse it with the ginger and all of that. Okay, so I tend to eat a lot of chicken. Again, if you don't eat meat, there's those alternatives I gave you, such as the nuts and seeds, which are very tasty. One thing you'll notice also is I've not included sauces as much. I do have sauces with food. Can I cook my own sauces and make my own sauces? That's a resounding no. But I try and limit the sauces as much as I can. I do eat them, but I try and limit them because I don't know really what's gone into them. And I know some of them can be infused with high amounts of sugar and a lot of additives and stuff like that. So if I do have sauce, I try and limit the portion size and the occasions I have it, basically. So my rice is simmering, okay? So my rice is simmering away there, okay? I've got my coffee actually because that's going to keep my energy levels up. I drink too much coffee, entirely too much coffee in fact, but those who don't know, that's a very good pre-workout prior to your sessions, okay? The other thing I've got, as I said, is the ginger. Now the ginger I'm going to include in the chicken when I start cooking the chicken, and I like zingy, sort of tangy flavours, so I like mango chutney, things like that. Wouldn't go particularly well with what I'm cooking, but I like that sort of zingy, tangy taste, if that makes sense. So that's why I've included ginger, a kind of sweet taste, that would be better way to describe it. So there we are. So we've got chicken, we've got the pineapple. One thing about the pineapple is I'm going to add that into the rice later on, but not right at the end. Okay, because what I want to do is soften up the pineapple a little bit. But I want to make sure that the pineapple isn't too cooked, because the bad thing about that is that it can zap out a lot of the nutrients if you overcook it. And it just turns into a sort of runny, putrid sort of mass, if you like, so like a pulp. So I try and have it almost when it's due to finish the rice cooking. But again, not too much cooking because the nutrients values can go. So I'm going to let that simmer, see how we're doing on the filming there. It looks pretty good to me. Okay, you get to see the inside of my kitchen as well as my living room during the Zoom sessions. So the chicken, again, I've diced it up a little bit, and yeah, the fat's gone. That's without question. But chicken, of course, has fats in it. It does have saturated fats in, but again, you can limit that by chopping it off, and you won't see much fat on this chicken. That's for sure. A little bit, but not a whole lot. And again, I've got about 8 ounces of chicken, so that's about 25 grams, 30 grams of protein there. And to give you an idea, for avid exercisers, those people aren't into bodybuilding, but are into their fitness, like you guys, a guide would be between about 1.2 and about 1.56 grams of protein per kilo of body weight. Okay, so 1.2 to 1.6 grams of protein per kilo of body weight. So that chicken there is going to help. And again, nuts and seeds are a very, very good alternative. Anyway, so that that rice is going very well. Better put my extractor on. There we go. I thought I'd put it on 1 because I don't want it to steal my thunder there and talk over us, so to speak. There we go. So I'm stirring that up. Okay. So I'll add the turmeric towards the end there, I think. Anyway, so I try and keep a clean workstation. That doesn't always go how I want it to, because my skills are not limited. Well, they're limited, yeah. Okay, but I try and keep a clean workstation while I go. My wife is super organised. I'm nowhere near her level, so I do my best. What I'm going to do, okay, towards the end of the cooking, I'm going to put the kidney beans into the microwave. So my microwave's right here, and I'm going to put the kidney beans in for about 2 minutes, okay? However, I tend not to boil because that can zap out the nutrients, not all of the nutrients, but it can take a fair chunk of them away. So it's important that I have a nutritious meal there. I do place a lot of emphasis on that and kind of fairly calculated in how I eat. Okay, but I don't go mad. I've got to be honest. It doesn't have to be a chore. It's just limitations of being sensible. And this meal that I'm cooking, to give you an idea, is around about 700 calories. All right, 700 calories. That's pretty good because, I say, my daily intake's about 3,000 a day calories. So it's about a quarter, just under a quarter of my intake. But again, portion size will be up to yourself and what you're comfortable with there. But it's important you have the fuel, being an avid exerciser. So get the rice done there, okay? The chicken will go in probably in about 5 minutes. So I'm going to warm up this pan, okay? I'm going to warm up this pan. I'm not going to do what I did the other day and warm the wrong ring up. And then I was wondering why the coconut oil didn't evaporate. And obviously the laws of physics apply in my house like they do everywhere. So I've got coconut oil there, okay? There's a lot of debate whether that's healthy or not. It seems to go in and out of healthy, not healthy, healthy, not healthy. It seems to, go from one state of being to the other there. So, but that's heating up, so my chicken can go on. Okay. Now, the pineapple's sitting there, nestling away there. I'm just having my coffee. Okay. But this meal will be about half an hour, 35 minutes to prepare. Very basic ingredients, and I think that's the strength of it. It's still tasty, so I've included ginger. Another thing that you can add to it are greens, guys. So one thing I'm particularly favourable about, I'm not going to add it this time because I've got enough alternative ingredients in this meal to keep me happy. But you can add things like spinach leaves and other greens in there. Now these are great because these are very, very high in what they call micronutrients, so things like minerals, vitamins, things like potassium, zinc, and all of those kind of things. Baby spinach. Now, the really good thing about these is the fact that they're what they call a superfood. The reason why they're very nutritious, but also you can pretty much have as much as you want because they're very low in calories, in energy level. So, to give you an idea, that full bag of spinach, baby spinach leaves, is 19 calories, 19. So you can eat quite a bit of that without having weight management issues there and managing calories. So, but I like spinach leaves because they're very nutritious and they add a sort of tasty addition to the meal. But also, I like the texture as well because they're quite crunchy. But I'm not going to add them in. But it takes the blandness out of things like the rice and that kind of thing. So there are things you can do to enhance the nutritional value of your meal. I'm going to put this right back in my fridge. Okay. There we are. Brilliant. Oil. Okay. Oil. Okay, so that rice is just coming along beautifully. All right, it's coming along beautifully. Okay. I don't want to add the chicken in too quickly because I don't want to dry it out. I don't want it to be too overcooked. But I want to time it just right while that rice is cooking. Okay. But again, the pineapple, that's going to go in towards the end then. Okay. So in about 5 minutes, I said that a few minutes ago. But about 5 minutes, I'm going to add in the chicken. I'm going to simmer the chicken. And then going to gradually add in the ginger. Okay, you guys out there will probably correct me and go, no, there's a better way, which there probably is, but again, I don't profess to be, anybody high up in the culinary skills field, so do forgive my sort of very basic approach to this. Okay, yeah, I don't think Chef Ramsay's got much to worry about, but there we are. So here we go. Right, I'm going to add my chicken in actually. I'm a bit impatient with that. I just can't wait to eat this because this is going to be good. All my coconut oil is spread around. So I'm now going to make sure that that's on a simmer and not an absolute, you know, 2-foot flames coming up there. So we're here. There we are. Whoa. I think I'll take that off for now. And I'm going to make sure I keep my eye on this because I want to make sure it's evenly cooked. You know, not only for, well, basic preparation, but also for health and safety. You know, I don't want to undercook the meat, because that could be not very ideal. Okay, so here we go. I'm stirring up my chicken. There we are. And I'm really kind of a bit of an amateur when it comes to adding the spices in. What I should do is maybe put little nicks in there to infuse it a little bit. Towards the sort of middle to the end of the cooking, I'm going to add the ginger in. A little, probably a sprinkle, a hint, but just enough to give it the flavour that I yearn. Okay, so that chicken's already turning a little bit after a minute in the pan. Okay, but I'm going to make sure that it's watched. Okay, I've got my other spoon. I try not to cross-contaminate. Okay, so I'm here stirring that rice, make sure it's not sticking. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, alright, here we go. So, this is a typical Russell meal, if you like. Quite healthy, but also, you know, very generic in terms of the food groups I eat. So I do eat high protein food. I do have carbs as well. And again, the myth about carbohydrates is a myth. Please eat carbohydrates. They should be about 50% of your diet. There we are. So you need the energy, especially with the classes you're doing, and the other activities you're doing, you need carbohydrates. Okay, there we go. Particularly carbohydrates that will give you a sustained amount of energy. So not just brown rice, but brown bread is good. Brown pasta or wholemeal pasta, sweet potatoes are good. Any bread like white bread, white potatoes, non-wholemeal pasta tend to be high in the GI energy stakes, if you like. So they tend to give you a spike, then a drop, believe it or not. A lot of people think that those carbohydrates give you a longer energy release. They tend not to, not as much as wholemeal. So I always go with wholemeal every time. Plus it's more tasty, as rice can be. So here we are. So we're cooking the chicken there. Okay, there we go. There we go. I hope I didn't remove the spoon and cross them over. I really hope I didn't do that. So forgive me if I did that. There we go. So I'm stirring that. Rice now. It's getting to evaporate water now. I might add some more water in there. Probably another cup. That size cup. Okay. Here we are. Oh, this is good. This is good. So I'm ready with my water. In fact, I'm going to be all organised and put my kidney beans in, ready to zap them for when the rice and the chicken are ready. So here we go. I'm going to make sure it's turned over, that chicken, because again, the last thing I want is to be, you know, rushed to hospital or something with food poisoning, or sounds a bit dramatic, but you know. Okay, here we are. So a very basic meal, but nice and tasty, very nutritious. And again, for the portions that I've got here, it's about 700 calories, but again, that's me. Again, everybody's different, so but I could polish that off pretty happily. And I did a workout this morning as well, like many of you guys did, which is good. I know, because I took it. All right, so here we are. Here we are. That chicken looks, oh, that looks exquisite. Looks very progressed there. Well, I need to make sure it's done inside as well, just so it's not red and pink inside. Okay, but yeah, so I hope I've been clear about everything with that. I'm going to get ready with my ginger, so I'm going to put probably about 1/4 of a cap of ginger in there. There we go. So my ginger is there. I don't know whether there's any pitfalls to leaving the lid off for a prolonged amount of time for this. Not for 10 minutes, I don't think. Anyway, that's more of a question than a statement, really. So there we are. There we go, guys. So my goodness, it's coming along. I've got to get better with this cross-contamination stuff. I'm swapping. I need to improve. I need to improve with that. I need to be more on the ball. More on the ball. I think I need to add more water in a moment with that rice. Okay, that wholemeal rice. Okay, there we are. Matter of fact, I've been eating the pineapple. I had a bowl of it and I ate quite a bit of pineapple. It gives me the energy to cook. So that can't be bad. Anyway, there we are. So we're cooking away. Okay, yep, the extractor's on. That's good. Okay, now the presentation skills are, well, you'll see. But, you know, I'm not cooking for anyone at the moment. I guarantee they would go up in the league tables if I had guests round or something, although that's not a possibility at the moment. If they were, I'd be on point with my presentation. There we go, but this meal is just for myself. There we are. So we're cooking. Okay, the other thing I wanted to say was, you know, don't rule out other meats. You know, pork and beef tend to be higher in fats there, so that's one downside with those two, but turkey's very good. Now, turkey, sorry to talk while my back is to the camera. Turkey's actually very good because it's one of the lowest fat meats there is. Downside is because it's very low in fat, it can be quite dry, so there can be a tendency to counteract the dryness by adding things like sauces in, which removes the lack of fat content in the meat, which is a bit silly. But turkey, yes, very low fat meat, but again, can be dry as a result. The chicken's a nice little medium there. It's got a bit more fat in it, but not masses. But I think you can do a lot more with the chicken, personally. It's tastier, I find. But turkey's good too, anyway. So just making quite a good job of that meat there. Well, so in my head. Doing good. So that chicken's coming along there. It's browning. Okay. There we go. Prepped it well, actually. I made the chicken with about 3/4 of an inch portions, so I can eat it easier and I don't have to chop it up. Quite lazy eating. Okay, so that rice is doing beautifully. I think turmeric time will be upon us. Okay, turmeric time will be upon us. All right. Okay. Just want to. My nightmare is for the chicken to stick in the pan, because then I'll have to use a electric implement to release it. You know. But yeah. So there we are. This is going good. This is going really well. I wasn't expecting otherwise, but I'm in front of the camera, of course. There we are. There we go. So I'm just testing that chicken to see whether it's cooked thoroughly. It's getting there, which is a good sign. Well, given that I'm going to eat it soon. There we go. So we're coming along nicely here. Just stirring that up, stirring that up, stirring that up, stirring that up. Okay. Looking forward to this meal because, again, I love things with ginger in. I love things with ginger. I like drinks with ginger in. That's one of my favourite seasoning seasons, basically. Herbs. Is it a herb? I'm not sure. But I like it. So, okay, here we are. There we go. Oh, in fact, I'm going to put in the ginger now, but I'm going to take the pan off the hob. If I sound, guys, like I really know what I'm talking about, I can assure you it just sounds that way. Okay. So I've got my ginger in there. Not sure that's a hint of ginger. It's more like a sermon of ginger. There we are. Anyway, so There we go. In fact, I'm going to put more coconut oil in there. Coconut oil, there we are. I'm going to get my spoon out. There we are. I'm going to put a little bit more in, but a little bit, because coconut oil can be quite high in fat, but much of it will dissipate in the heat. Whoa, that's gingery. Whoa. There we go. But then it is fresh, so the smell is quite high at the moment. There we go. There we go. That's good. So that's, make sure that chicken covers all, the ginger, excuse me, covers all the chicken, just so it's not sticking there. The other, there we go. No, that's good. Yeah, we're looking good here. That rice is coming along beautifully. I reckon we'll be done in about 12 minutes, guys. Sorry for me ranting on and talking about it, but you know, I hope that's been educational and insightful as well. There we are. Let's say educational. The nutrition side is, the cooking ability maybe not. So there we are. There we go. But again, I think that's a very powerful thing, because although my cooking, I wouldn't say was terrible, I've probably been a bit harsh on myself. It's certainly not brilliant, but that's a good thing, because it shows you don't have to be brilliant at cooking to make healthy, nutritious food choices. So I think that's a powerful thing, actually. You know, so you don't have to be an athlete to train and be fit. So in that regard, it's good. So there we go. So we're cooking away. I think some more coconut oil is needed there, because my pan is sticking a little. I think that's due to the application of ginger. I'm going to use a spoon, another spoon. I never professed, guys, to be the most efficient cook ever. In other words, I use way too many things than I should do in the process of doing meals. So you'll probably find about 30, you know. But the result's what's important, I think. So I'm just not very efficient at it. There we go. So if I was to review my meal, I'd probably say I could have put that chicken in later, but due to acute impatience, I think that's why. So off we go. So we're going to get that chicken ready soon. I think we're pretty on point with that rice, actually. It's done really well, really well. And I'm going to add the turmeric now, just to give it a little bit of presentation there. I don't want the meal to look too bland, because funny enough, when I see meals that, even if you said it was the most tasty meal in the world, if I look and see it looks bland, I'll psychologically think it's bland, and it'll probably taste bland in my head as well. So, but if it's got a bit of colour to it, then, you know, psychologically for me, that's good. But that's just how I think. That's good. So yeah, that rice is looking nice. There we go. There we are, chicken. There we go. In fact, I'm going to cook the kidney beans now. They're going to go in for 2 minutes. Alright, they're 2 minutes. They're going to go in for 2 minutes. I'm going to let them stand. Okay, I'm going to let them stand. There we are. There we go. There we are. Oh, this is going lovely. Very tasty meal. Okay, other things you can add to the rice, of course, are sweet corn. That's full of vitamins, very full of vitamins. And of course, vitamins are very good for the other processes in the body, such as absorption of carbohydrates and protein. So all those other major functions that involve the macronutrients in the body, the vitamins facilitate all of that, and other minerals and vitamins facilitate all of those things. So they're very good to do, to have them. There we go. If I was to self-efface my dinner, I'd say probably added a bit too much turmeric in there, because it's gone very yellow. But that's not a bad thing. It's, you know, a learning experience every time. There we are. There we are. So that chicken has got about 5 more minutes before it's done. But again, it's really important for me, even if I slightly overcook the chicken, that's not a terrible thing, but I'm just very conscious of cooking it thoroughly so that the chicken is safe to eat. Okay, I'm going to strain off the kidney beans very soon. Alright, that's good. I want to make sure that the rice is not too hard, but not too stodgy. I can never get a happy medium with the rice, I don't know why. I'll talk to some of you guys, you probably know how. So we're right there, right now. There we go. So my chopping boards are going to go away, and my knives. There we go, I've done all my food preparation. I want to make sure I've got an efficient station. And my plate is coming, so there we go, my pineapple is waiting. So I think that's the last application of water that I'm going to be doing. Now this is going really well, and this is going really well. I'm not surprised, by the way, it's just as good when it's going well. There we are. So the ginger is stuck on the pan a little bit, but that's okay, because you know all the little scribblets and scraps of ginger will make it a little bit more tasty and the chicken less bland. So I think that's a good thing there. Chicken's coming along, a couple of minutes for the chicken. I'll take that off the heat in a moment, and then I'll add the pineapple to the rice and the kidney beans as well. Again, I don't want to overdo the kidney beans and the pineapple so it doesn't lose its nutrients. Okay, but I'm going to certainly strain off. So get a happy medium with the rice, I don't know why. I'll talk to some of you guys, you probably know how. So we're right there, right now. There we go. So my chopping boards are going to go away, and my knives. There we go, I've done all my food preparation. I want to make sure I've got an efficient station. And my plate is coming, so there we go, my pineapple is waiting. So I think that's the last application of water that I'm going to be doing. Now this is going really well, and this is going really well. I'm not surprised, by the way, it's just as good when it's going well. There we are. So the ginger is stuck on the pan a little bit, but that's okay, because you know all the little scribblets and scraps of ginger will make it a little bit more tasty and the chicken less bland. So I think that's a good thing there. Chicken's coming along, a couple of minutes for the chicken. I'll take that off the heat in a moment, and then I'll add the pineapple to the rice and the kidney beans as well. Again, I don't want to overdo the kidney beans and the pineapple so it doesn't lose its nutrients. Okay, but I'm going to certainly strain off those kidney beans. I'm going to strain them off. Okay, there we go. I think I portioned the meal quite well, actually, because again, I'm quite strict with my calories. I make sure that I eat not too much or too little. I think it's just as it can be bad to eat too little. If you eat too little calories, again, things like your energy levels can go down, but also you can burn off muscle as well, essential muscle that you want to use for, you know, training there. So, you know, if you have too few calories, that can be a physiological result of having too few calories. So it's not healthy generally. So there we go. But then you don't want to go crazy with your monitoring either. You know, I try not to go too crazy monitoring, but then I've been doing it so long, it kind of second nature now. So here we go. So I've got a few more minutes there. There we go. A few more minutes so that chicken on the cob isn't going to kill it. So, wow. I'm going to add the pineapple very soon and the kidney beans. In fact, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add the kidney beans right now. So there we go. So I'm just going to take the kidney beans and put them on this slow burning hob. And again, kidney beans, again, they're a good protein source, but it's good to mix them with something, say nuts. So again, if you don't eat meat or fish, you can have nuts and seeds, beans and seeds, beans and nuts, so any kind of nuts. Cashews are very good, they're good to have with rice, I think, not just an accompaniment, but as a main ingredient, a staple. So there we are. There we go. There we go. So I hope you don't mind, guys, when I dish this food up, I'm going to stand in front of it so you see the result afterwards. There we go. Here we are. So we're looking good now. I'm really proud of this. There we are. Just getting rid of the last remnants of the water in the rice. The water in the rice. There we go. I think the pineapple's due to go in. There we go. I'm not going to absolutely overcook that pineapple. Just enough to soften it out. Just enough to soften that pineapple up. Okay. But not so much that I zap the nutrients. I've gone on about that. I know. You know. It's funny because I eat healthy generally, but I don't want to taste as well. And again, I've done little things like adding ginger in there and that sort of thing, little changes to make it all the difference to that. So my rice is going well. I better put that back on so it doesn't end up too stodgy or too clumpy and like a sodden mass, as it were. There we go. So that pineapple's going to soften up. That chicken's looking, oh, so lovely. Oh, so nice. I'm going to take it off the pan there so it doesn't get too burned. Coffee. Too much. Okay, so here we are. There we go. Just see how we're doing on that filming there. Pretty good, guys. So I've got a couple of minutes, I'd say, estimated before we're done here. That's good. My wife's watching, I don't know what, but my son's watching something. And I'm in here preparing this absolutely exquisite meal, which is lovely because it's just lovely, really. That's good. There we go. So I've got a minute or so, I'd say a couple of minutes actually. Oh, that's going in the sink. There we are. So kind of an incident-free meal cooking session, so that's good. That's excellent work, excellent work. So, rice, do you know what, I really struggle with fluffy rice. I think it's looking fluffy, it's non-sticky and congealed, but I struggle with getting that nice medium where it's not too hard, not too clumpy, but it's nice and fluffy. But again, practice, I guess. So, you know, but at least I know it's going to be tasty. It's going to be nutritious. That's important. There we go. And I think we're ready. Yeah, we're ready. We're ready as we'll ever be today. So I'm going to make sure my presentation is fairly on point. Let's get this cup of coffee out of the way. Okay, like I said, I'm going to shroud the kind of setting up of my meal here. Shroud it so you see the end result in all its splendour. Okay, let me put that on the hob. There we go, and the meat I think is done. There we go. So there we are. Trust me, I will wash this up. Okay, so I'm going to turn off my hob so I don't blow my house into the stratosphere and take half of Essex with it. I'm sure the neighbours won't appreciate that. So there we go, and keep the extractor on. There we are. That is my dinner. Okay, so chicken, pineapple, rice, and kidney beans as well, with a bit of ginger in there just to give it a bit of taste, guys. So there we are. Giving you a bit of nutrition advice as well, and the whys and wherefores of that. But guys, you have a good day. I'm going to enjoy my food.